Speaking of steps in the right direction, should we talk about the elephant in the room?
Is it the ceasefire?
It is the ceasefire, TJ.
All right, I got hot off the presses article right here about the ceasefire because what the fuck is going on? So I'm sure you guys heard that. What was it, John? Yesterday, the day before, that the Israeli government and Hamas had agreed to a ceasefire. Is that correct?
It was like reports came out like Thursday night or Tuesday night. We're talking about like it was going to be released. You know, the pre-release of the release, and then they did the release yesterday. And then more details have been coming out, you know. But
yep, that's what we got here. So we are going to talk about Biden's legacy. We keep teasing, but we actually are. But one of them that I was really fascinated to talk about Biden's legacy was with the ceasefire thing, because with Trump coming into office and the ceasefire happening 5 minutes before he does, it's like, how is this going to reflect on Biden? Like, he tried taking credit for everything, but you know, nix all that, folks, because as of a couple hours ago, Israel, Hamas ceasefire, Netanyahu says last-minute crisis is holding up his approval. A last-minute crisis with Hamas was holding up an Israeli approval of a long-awaited agreement to pause the fighting in the Gaza Strip and release dozens of hostages. Netanyahu said on Thursday, that's today. And why the holdup? The Israeli cabinet was expected to vote on the deal today, but Netanyahu's office said they won't meet until Hamas backs down, accusing it of reneging on parts of the agreement in an attempt to gain further concessions without elaborating. It's not yet clear if Netanyahu's statements were reflected jockeying to keep his fractious coalition together, or whether the deal was at risk. A senior Hamas official said the group is committed to the agreement announced by the mediators. The agreement would bring relief to hard-hit Gaza Strip, where Israel's offensive has reduced areas to rubble and displaced 90% of the population of 2.3 million people. So maybe we, pop the bottles a little too early on the Gaza ceasefire, and the Biden administration is ending in an embarrassing fashion on every possible level. It's just incompetence all the way down. So we'll go to you first, John. What do you think about this update?
There's so many things here. I'm going to discuss the Israel-Palestine side of it first, and then we're going to loop it back to the Biden-Trump side of it. But from the Israel-Palestine side of it, as soon as this report came out on Tuesday, I was like, all right, that's fine. I'll believe it when I see it. Yeah. And my reaction today is, all right, that's fine. I'll believe it when I see it. Because, let's be clear here. It's not like this is some new deal. This is the same deal that Joe Biden, announced to the nation. Oh, I've reached a deal, fucking months ago. Mm-hmm. And it is structurally identical. There might be minor details that are different, which is important to a deal like this, but still basically the same thing. And it's like, well, I didn't believe it when he said it then, and I was right. And I'm not going to believe it now until I see it actually stop. And even then, this ceasefire deal, and it really pisses me off how the media is reporting on this. Not that the media has reported on this whole thing fairly at all, but it's not like an end. It's just, okay, we're going to basically return to the status quo before Israel was bombing the shit out of Gaza, where they were only blockading Gaza. And it's like, okay, that doesn't end the fucking conflict. As Rio, you were mentioning before we hopped on live, that Blinken said that Hamas has already recruited to replace all of its, killed members.
100%.
100%. And you know what? Maybe they have, maybe they haven't. I don't fucking know. I'll believe anything that Blinken says. It's all equally potentially a lie. But I believe it because that's the way terrorist organizations have worked for my entire lifetime, is that when the big bad fucking state comes in and kills a bunch of people, well, you know what? The terrorist organizations go, well, thank you for the free recruitment material. Because fucking of course they would. Because I just want to, anyone who's disagreeing with me right now, I want to just play out how this works and tell me where you disagree, right? So Israel doesn't want Hamas to remain in control of Gaza. Cool. So what do we have? We have a fucking election. All right. Who do you think the people of fucking Gaza are going to vote for? Are they going to vote for the people who say, hey, let's play nice with the people who just destroyed our entire fucking territory and killed tens of thousands of innocent people? No, they're going to vote for people who fucking hate Israel, because of course they would. I would too. if I had my fucking entire family blown up around me. Like, that's just natural human reaction. It will just continue. Like, this is just a continuation. And yeah, I'll be like, if they stop dropping the bombs, if we go back to where it was before, I'll be happy, I guess, that less people are dying. But is anything resolved? No, not at all. We're just continuing the same shit as we were before. I don't know. Did you have any joy, Rio, when you heard this this headline, or was it kind of, do you feel the same way as I did?
Well, I mean, it's no surprise that Israel is sabotaging an agreement. Like, is have they ever not fucking done that? It's the most consistent thing in the world, and it's funny because they have consistently embarrassed Biden. I mean, don't you guys think? Like, he's tried at every turn for the last year to like make things look as good as possible. Oh, 2 days it will happen. Oh, in 2 weeks something will happen. Oh, and it's like they're always trying to. This has just been a PR nightmare for Biden the whole time. And fittingly, that he's leaving office on this note where Israel makes him look like a fucking idiot. So yeah, it's there's no end in sight. We could talk about this. Could also segue into Hexeth because we could talk about like warmongering and what Trump is gonna do. But yeah, I don't know. That's all I have. It's just depressing. So and embarrassing for Biden.
When this came out that there was an agreement that Israel accepted the terms of the ceasefire, the first question that came to my mind was, well, why? Why would they do that? What could possibly be in it for them to say, oh, this entire time we've been doing this bombing and saying that we want to, wipe Hamas off the map, and that we're hinting very strongly that we're going to just, settle the Gaza Strip and keep it for ourselves. And now okay, well, just kidding. We didn't mean any of it. That didn't make any sense at all. Like, what you think Donald Trump cares if they did that? And a lot of people are saying that they did this to specifically make Biden lose. And it's like, okay, if they did, then that just reinforces what I said. Why would they stop now? If you did all of this to make Biden lose, why bother? Just keep going like you wanted to. Now this makes a lot more sense where they're backing out of it for reasons. And like John said, even if they did sign it, what would make us think that they would actually stop in the future? And John, you pointed out,
not the future. The present. They killed. They killed. I'm sorry. Al Jazeera reports they killed 87 Palestinians today. Today. 21 of them children, 25 of them women.
Yeah. it's. I saw a video about this yesterday, and it was incredibly prescient, where they said, they showed this video of a bunch of people in Gaza, a bunch of Palestinians celebrating the call for the ceasefire. And the person said that it was actually very distressing watching that video because, all throughout Gaza, there's over 1 million people, celebrating this. And he said, a lot of those folks will not be alive tomorrow. They said they're celebrating, but Israel is going to, and John's right, they absolutely did. And I wanted to pull up just a Hall of Fame tweet. Like when the world is burned down and there's nothing left, I hope that we have monuments built to these, tentpole tweets that have carried us a lot of year. But this one, I'm not a political expert, but if you eliminated Hamas and killed my whole family in the process, my first move would be to start Hamas too. That's what happened. That's exactly what happened with the 100% recruitment rate and replacement rate for Hamas. And this, once again, I don't know if we'll actually do the Biden legacy thing because we keep referring to it, at the end of every segment.
We're going to. I'm like holding back a lot of my Biden takes. So, like, I'm going to have to release that. All right. We have to go another 3 hours to do so.
It's building up.
It's going to happen. You're not getting away that easy, Joe Biden. You only got a couple days in office. We're coming for you, bro. But there was a poll that was released. Let me see. It was a YouGov poll, I think. And, damning new poll shows price that Harris paid for backing Israeli genocide in Gaza. And a YouGov poll backed by the Institute for Middle East Understanding Policy Project released Wednesday, showing that among the 19 million people who voted for Biden in 2020 but did not vote in 2024, nearly a third of them named Israel's U.S.-backed war on Gaza as the top reason for staying home. The top reason these non-voters cited, above the economy at 24% and immigration 11%, was Gaza at 29%. what was this all for, Joe Biden? What was this all for? You stood steadfast by Israel's side with an indefensible assault against innocent people in Gaza and stuck by it, only to be played by Netanyahu the whole time and tanking your vice president. Maybe she would have lost anyway, but you didn't make it easier for what? Like what did anyone gain out of this, including yourself? Like what did he get out of this? I just don't understand. And so I just want to bring those two up. Well, what do you think, John?
I think so. First of all, I hate having to explain to grown-ass adults that when you unjustly murder someone's family, they're going to want to murder you back. Not all the time, but you do it enough times, like on the scale of tens of thousands, you're just going to make a lot of people want to kill you. And it blows my mind how many fucking, again, grown adults don't seem to understand that tweet that you just posted. Because to me, I read that and I go, yeah, I would have understood this as a fucking kindergartner, and through the rest of experiences in my life have only proven to me that that is 100% correct. Whether we're talking about fucking international terrorist groups or we're talking about interpersonal fucking relationships, if you do something which hurts innocent people, people are going to want to hurt you. Like, and I say this and it sounds dumb. I feel like I'm degrading myself by saying it because I'm like, oh, well, our audience must clearly understand this. But apparently most people fucking don't, because they'll still sit here and tell you, hey, yeah, this is what we need to do. We need to murder tens of thousands of people or else Israelis will never be safe. And it's like, no, that's what's making the Israelis not safe. Jewish people are far safer here in the United States of America than they are in Israel, partially because the people we're murdering are far enough away that they can't hurt us. Let me rephrase the statement that I was just about to make. But like, yeah, it's just very frustrating. And in terms of, there's so many angles here. In terms of the politics of it all, it just seems like the worst of all possible worlds for Joe Biden.
Yeah.
You spend your fucking life dealing with this for a year. This is going to be an integral part of your legacy as president. And you didn't pursue more aggressive options, right? Until the very end, when Donald Trump, I don't know what made this happen exactly, but like Donald Trump gets to claim victory. Donald Trump gets to claim he did this, that Israel is doing this because they're afraid of the strongman option, which is going to teach everyone the worst possible lesson out of all of this. It not only gives your opponent a victory, but as Rio, you alluded to earlier, it feeds the fucking warmongers, because it's like, oh, what we really need is strength. We need to show these people that we're strong, when in reality, killing people just leads to more killing. So it's really upsetting. I don't know why Joe Biden did what he did, and it honestly exposes the entire fucking rot of liberalism in general, because you have one side that actually says they believe that, you know, might equals right, that we need to exhibit strength, that we need to hurt innocent people to display our dominance. The other side wholeheartedly believes it, and they say it with their fucking chest. Liberals say they don't believe it, but then act as if they do. Like, if you were to look at what Joe Biden has done and compare it to what Donald Trump would have done, it's probably the same exact fucking thing. But Joe Biden doesn't say it with his chest. And so he just looks fucking weak. He looks completely ineffectual. And I believe that Donald Trump didn't actually play too much of a factor into this. I believe that Netanyahu mostly wanted to hurt Biden and was waiting for it. I don't think Donald Trump's strength is what changed people's minds here. But Joe Biden's weakness certainly fucking did. And I just don't understand what the plan was. Like, I don't understand how this is a desirable outcome for Joe Biden or the Democratic Party. It just seems to be a win for Donald Trump and the Republicans across the board, no questions asked, regardless of how much he actually impacted this.
I always think that the real story here is voter suppression. And it seems like the like the Democrats somehow like want to bury their head in the sand, and they don't want to take any accountability for voter suppression. And then when Kamala Harris like can just literally continued the same policies that Joe Biden, a continuation of Joe Biden's policies with Gaza and Israel, like people were so deeply disappointed, and they were de-energized. I think the Democratic Party knows on some sort of subconscious level that they have to energize their base, but they weren't energizing their base. Their base, they were and it's like they're suppressing all young voters, and then the voters don't turn out. And it wasn't Jill Stein. It fucking wasn't. They were literally just suppressed. So Democrats are remarkably good at suppressing their own fucking base. It's incredible, man. And you know and here's the other tragic thing, TJ. Like we were talking about like morality and authenticity earlier.
Mm-hmm.
There are moments in U.S. history where we do moral things as a country.
Yeah.
Take down this wall, Mr. Gorbachev. Like there was like some sort of spiritual swelling that gripped the nation, and like he said the right thing, and that was the right thing to do. That was like a moment in human history. And there was a moment here that everybody was hoping that Kamala Harris would change courses and the Democrats would do something maybe a little bit moral, you know, and they fucking never did. And so it just, voter suppression was the obvious result. You know what I mean? Anyway, that's it.
Yeah. It's like the really sad part about this is that, like what Rio said, there have been times in American history where, you know, whether the reason was noble or not, we did the right thing, right? Yep. You know, ending slavery was the right thing. You know, defeating the Nazis was the right thing. We have had moments where it's like, okay, you know, Civil Rights Act, you know, we did the right thing. Of course, we've never done the perfect thing. Nobody's perfect. But it's like, okay, you know, on the scale of good and bad, this surprisingly lands squarely in the good category. And there's a price to pay for doing what's right. Like, we know that. Yeah, it's not always going to work out in your favor to make the moral decision. And that's what makes the whole presidency of Joe. Let's go right into it. The legacy of Joe Biden and what makes it so bad is because, but let's say Biden thought this. I'm not saying this was his thought process, but let's give like the best case scenario in this is that his thought process was, wow, this genocide is actually bad. Once again, giving a lot of credit. So this genocide is bad. Israel is clearly in the wrong. However, going against Israel and saying, I'm going to withhold weapons. I can't, you know, send in troops to stop your genocide, but I can take your weapons away. And you're not going to do it with my help. Not going to happen. If I do that, I'm going to lose all this support, and I'm going to lose, or Harris is going to lose, and I can't do that. Let's say that's what he thought. That turned out to not even be the case. So not only did he back the genocide, he lost, or you know, the Democrats lost anyway. So you let all those people die for no reason, like no reason other than the fact that you wanted it to happen. Like that's the only conclusion I can come to. And that is what makes it incredibly dark here, because, you know, no one put a gun to Biden's head and said, you must back Israel's obvious slaughter. You could have done the right thing. Doing the right thing and losing would have been the noble move. Instead, you did the wrong thing and lost anyway. Just darkly sad.
If you made it to this point in the video, congratulations. You were probably teased about Joe Biden's legacy, or you heard our thoughts on it, and you probably could have guessed them. It wasn't a very surprising episode of all that we teased, but what was surprising is the excellent moral conversations we had with our wonderful guest, Rio. If you want to hear more from him, Rio, where can people find you?
Just on TikTok, at Nathan Rio. I should have given you guys the little thing, at Nathan Rio on TikTok.
Hey,
I'd say fuck it, we'll fix it in post, but we're not.
We're not going to do that. We're not going to do that. This show used to look a lot slicker. We're like, no, we're posting this shit. But hey, we appreciate you guys watching. Thanks so much for your support. We look forward to seeing you in the future, either here on YouTube or on TikTok. We're still around. If not, you can find Rio at least over at Red Note Xiao Hung Shu or whatever in Chinese. We'll catch you, whatever, folks. Later.